Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Kyle Downey, and this is the Sports Download, the show where a Los Angeles native talks sports from a fan's perspective. I might not be unbiased, but I keep it honest and real with you. All right, so a lot has happened. Obviously, I'm recording here today on June 26th, Monday afternoon. The draft happened last week. I'm going to recap the draft, talk about some things that the Lakers have done, what they can do, and all kinds of sports topics. But in the NBA right now, it is silly season, it is lying season. There's going to be all kinds of stuff coming out. Whether it's true or not, we shall see. And let's get into it. I'm going to try to I'll put out a show today and then try to put out another one in a few days. And then we have the free agency coming up, NBA free agency next week. So there's going to be a lot of stuff flying around there, and we'll see what sticks and what lands. So first, let's talk about the draft. I watched the draft, and first of all, congratulations to all the kids, all the young kids. They're 18, 19 years old, and now their dreams are made true, and congratulations to them. That's amazing accomplishment. Plenty of work ahead of them, but they're all about to be millionaires, so happy for them and their families. Let's start off talking about the Lakers. So the Lakers drafted JALEN Hood-Schifino at number 17, and they drafted Maxwell Lewis at number 40. So Hood-Schifino, from what I've heard about, I like that he was a good defender. He only played 1 year at Indiana U, so he only has 1 year experience in college, but he was a good defender. He can shoot the mid-range. His three-point shot is not there yet, so hopefully he can work on that. And I don't know if they're going to keep these guys. I don't know if they're going to keep them or if they're going to trade them yet. We'll have to see how that pans out. But I think that he could maybe get some minutes this year if he did stay on the roster. And I think that he could make an impact immediately just on the defensive end if he's able to play defense. I mean, we have to take into account that the NBA is a huge step from college or whatever professional level you're playing at before then. But yeah, if he could be a defender right away, then he can make an impact and his offense would follow. And he seems like a good kid. I checked out his Twitter, and he likes to go by Fino, which is his last name, Hood-Schifino. And I saw that he had a picture and it said "failure is no option," and I love that. And apparently his favorite player was Kobe growing up. So, and Rob Pelinka says he has that Mamba mentality. So that's great to hear if he does stick with the Lakers, with the Lakers, and get some run with the South Bay Lakers, and maybe with the big club. They also, so like I said, they drafted Maxwell Lewis at 40. He went to Pepperdine. I think he is 2 years at Pepperdine, so a local kid as far as where he went to college, and he can he's a good wing size. Seems very athletic. His game is not polished yet, but apparently he can shoot. So that is a really good quality to have. And if he sticks and if he gets any run, then that would definitely be a benefit to the team, because with LeBron and AD in the paint and wanting to go into the paint, you're happy to have some spacing with some three-point shooting for sure. You see, I'm pulling up his stats from Pepperdine. Yeah, 2 years at Pepperdine. Was a pretty good shooter, decent shooter. His freshman year was 36%. Sophomore year, 34%. So averaged about 35% from three. That's not bad. If he can improve that. Let's see if people like to use free throws as an indicator to see if you can shoot. 80% free throw shooter over 2 years. So that would be very helpful. If that is a good indicator of him being a good three-point shooter and he can improve upon that, then that would be good success. Athletic and can shoot threes. That could give him some run on any team in the NBA. Let's look real quick at Hood-Schifino's stats. Averaged 13 points a game, 13.5 a game, 4 rebounds, 3.7 assists. Let's see. Yeah, he 33% from 3, but I heard that he was not consistent from 3, but 77% free throw shooter. Excuse me. So that's not bad. If that could translate to his 3-point shooting as well, that'd be amazing. Let's see, and the Lakers also picked up some undrafted free agents. They picked up what was it? Colin Castleton. I've been hearing a good amount about this kid. 3 years in Florida. 3 years, I think, at University of Florida, if I have that right. Oh wow, looks like he started at Michigan, and then 3 years of Florida. So he's a 73% free throw shooter. Doesn't really shoot threes, so he's not a stretch 5. Let's look at his field goal percentage, 50%. That's good for a big guy, for a center. He's like 7-footer. Averages 10 points a game over his college career, is 1.7 blocks. So if he could join the Lakers and be a good backup, we need a reliable backup at center. I don't know if they're going to bring back Wenyen Gabriel. I don't know if they're going to bring back Tristan Thompson. But as we've seen, look who won the championship, the Denver Nuggets. And you're going to need big bodies to throw at Jokic and be able to just like give him a little bit of problems, or at least, at the very least, try to stop him from passing the ball. But also Anthony Davis, for him to get rest, we need a reliable big to be taking some minutes, especially during the regular season, to get him through the regular season and keep him as healthy as possible. And then when it comes playoff time, he's going to play a lot of minutes, AD, but he needs to also get breathers here and there. Or if he could be a big to play alongside AD, that would be helpful as well. Because I don't think, from what we saw in the finals with how the Nuggets, Jokic is destroying everybody, I don't think you're going to get away with being small out there. So I love you, Darvin Ham. Let's try not to play so small this year. With this roster, let's try not to play so small. Hopefully we get some size, because the champs, they ain't small. They're big. At Jokic, Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, KCP. They got a big lineup, so championship goes through them. Got to play everybody during the regular season, but the championship, the West, is going to go through the Nuggets if they stay healthy. So size is going to be a good asset for us. All right, let's. So also they signed undrafted free agent Demoy Hodge. He went to, Cleveland State for 2 years, and then Missouri. I heard this kid is a sniper, 3-point shooter. Okay, so he 30% 1 year, 33.7% the next year, and 40%. So it looks like his 3-point percentage improved. I mean, hey, take a flyer on the kid if he can shoot. Again, floor spacing for LeBron to be able to go into the paint, for AD to be able to go into the paint, would be very, very beneficial. And I feel like, if we could figure out this offseason to get some more spacing, 3-and-D, that's the league. That's the league right now. Is you want a 3-and-D wing. If this kid can shoot, he's a guard, but if he can shoot, he might be able to get some playing time. At the very least, put him on the South Bay Lakers and see how he plays. And if he looks good, then bring him up with the big club. Let's see. And then there's one more kid that we signed. I think we signed him to an Exhibit 10 contract. His name is Alex Fudge. He's a wing forward, 6'8". Went to, what school we go to? LSU and then Florida. I heard he was a shooter. Interesting. He is not a good 3-point shooter. 24%. but not really a scorer. But hey, I mean, they signed him to Exhibit 10. It's not a huge commitment, and take the flyer on the kid, see what he can do. Yeah, it looks like he could be a scorer, field goal percentage. Maybe he's a mid-range shooter. That could be beneficial. So he's kind of a project type player. We'll see how he looks on the South Bay Lakers. So those are the kids that the Lakers drafted. They can still do things with those picks. They can still trade. They can still trade those guys until they're officially signed. Their draft rights can be traded. So I mean, I'd look to see the Castleton kid and those other undrafted guys, Hodge and or Fudge, Fudge and Hodge, I believe his name is. Yeah, I looked at those guys playing on the South Bay Lakers. But as far as Jalen Hood-Schifino, I know Rob Pelinka said he likes him and he's got the Mamba mentality and all of that stuff. And Maxwell Lewis, I know they liked him. They paid they used the rest of their cash, $4 million to move up to 40 to get him. And they said that there was a considerable drop off there from the 40th pick on. There wasn't much difference in between each guy, and they like Maxwell Lewis, so that's why they did that. But they can still be traded. So I know some Laker fans are worried and things like that. I would say everybody just stay calm. I know that we're a fan base that has some people that get a little crazy, and I'm a huge fan. I'm a fanatic, and I get a little crazy too. But we can still trade these kids. We can still trade these draft choices. We just have to trade their draft rights. So we'll see what happens. I mean, free agency, we're sitting here at June 26th. Free agencies, they're allowed to negotiate, quote unquote, without tampering. And June 30th, without tampering, they're able to start negotiating. So we'll see what happens. There's lots that can happen, sign-in trades and all that. I mean, unless the Lakers can find a sign-in trade, though, they might end up keeping these drafted guys and re-sign Beasley, Bamba, just to have that salary, and also re-sign D'Angelo Russell. I've seen certain things. I think the Lakers would be open to giving him something like 20-something million on a short-term deal. Probably, maybe look to trade him later on, but who knows? Maybe they want to see if it'll work. I love D'Angelo Russell. I think he's a good kid. I think it's great to see him back with us, but he just fell short in the playoffs. So I don't know if he can be a better player. What worries me about him is his mentality, where he's like, I'm already nice. Yeah, you are a really good player, but I mean, there's always things you could improve upon. Like Kobe was like this. Every offseason, he would try to add a different move, a different tool. So with D'Angelo Russell, I think that you got to work on your shot. You got to work on it to where you're dependable in the clutch moments. Just keep repetition. Got to get to the point where we can trust you, to where LeBron can trust if he throws it to you that you're going to hit that three, that you're wide open. So, because I was saying in the playoffs that, if we get a good D'Lo game, we could smoke them. That's what happened with the Grizzlies. We tore them up. When D'Lo was hitting threes, it's so great when we can stretch the floor for LeBron and AD, when we can space the floor. So with D'Angelo, just work on your shots where you're more clutch. Work on your handle. Don't be afraid to, get stronger. Get in the weight room. Add a little muscle. Add some post moves, because you're a big point guard. You're like 6'5". That's pretty big for a point guard. So I think that the Lakers might bring D'Angelo back, for nothing else, at least to have the salary. I would love to get Fred VanVleet, but I don't know if that's possible right now. Who knows what Toronto's doing? Toronto is an enigma, and they're always trying to get more than what they're supposed to get, and they're always trying to get more than what they're supposed to get. So I don't know what they would want from I know Fred VanVleet is a free agent, so unless they want to lose him for nothing, they would have to trade him. But I don't know if he's coming to the Lakers. We'll see what happens. There's still plenty to be done. But, I mean, hey, if we just run the team back that we have and we're able to have roster flexibility where we can make trades, we could trade Bamba, trade Beasley for a couple nice players, trade D'Angelo down the road, then we're looking pretty good. I mean, we're a Western Conference team. Western Conference Finals team, and we lost to the eventual champs. You want to improve, but I think continuity is also a way of improving, sticking with the team that we have now. I mean, Toronto, I would wonder if they would learn, like, Masai Ujiri is a great GM, but if you hold on to guys too long, like how they do with, I mean, if they don't, like, they're going to lose Fred VanVleet for nothing, but I saw somebody say, well, you know, bad things can happen when you hold on to players too long and you ask too much for them, like OG Anunoby. And I would love to get Anunoby. I don't know if we're getting him. But in a trade, I mean, that would be a beautiful piece. He would be a great player to have on the Lakers because he's a good 3-and-D player. But, I mean, I'm just thinking of it right now because today we saw a trade go down where John Collins was traded from the Hawks for just like, see, I wrote down what he was traded for. John Collins was traded from the Hawks to the Jazz for Rudy Gay, some second-round picks, and some pick swaps. That's not as much as he probably should get. And yeah, the Hawks will get a $25 million trade exception that they can work with, I believe, in their salary cap. But that's not that much for a young, good player that has been on the trade block for he's been on the trade block for like 2 or 3 years. So, your move, Masai. I'm just kidding. I'd love to get Fred VanVleet. I don't know if that's happening, but all kinds of things. I mean, that's a trade that just happened. So, I don't worry if the Lakers aren't. You don't feel like they're doing what they're keeping the pick. I mean, I saw a lot of people getting mad about that. I mean, look, we had a draft pick last year. It was a second-rounder, Max Christie, and he looks like a nice player, and he might crack the rotation this year. He might be like somewhere in between the 7th and 12th guy. Some people in the Lakers are looking at him like he could be a seventh man or something like that. I think he's a nice player. He's a good, could be a good two-way guard, shooting guard. And I mean, he looked like he was willing to get after it on the defensive end, was hitting some shots when we desperately needed him to play before we traded Westbrook last year. So there is definitely some run that rookies can get. Excuse me. There's definitely some runs that rookies can get. I think that Schifino might be able to play a little bit if he's given the chance, if we keep him on the roster. But like I said, in the NBA, it is such a crazy league that Mark Stein calls it #ThisLeague, and I think that's the name of his podcast. That's how crazy the league is. So buckle up, guys. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This week is going to be nuts, and we'll see what happens as free agency is looming, and all kinds of things are coming out today. All kinds of things are coming out. So, like I mentioned, the John Collins thing, that thing came out of nowhere. And I just want to touch real quick on Damian Lillard. That makes me think of Dame. So there was a report came out last week that Dame said he's waiting for the offseason to make decisions on whether he's going to leave or not. And today he's meeting with his agent, and him are meeting with the Trailblazers to discuss the roster moving forward. And they did not trade Scoot Henderson. They did not trade the pick. They ended up drafting Scoot Henderson, who is a young player, and he's not looking to, obviously he's 32 years old. He's looking to win now and not rebuild. But every summer for the last few summers, he's been talking about, oh, will I leave? Would I potentially leave? And then in this summer, a couple weeks ago, he said, oh, what about, I'd love to play in Miami because Bam is my guy, Bam Adebayo, and I'd love to play in Brooklyn because Mikal Bridges or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I love Dame. I got a lot of respect for him, what he did. in the Trailblazers, and if it weren't for the CBA, I'd love for him to be on the Lakers. And if it weren't for the whole, like, it's hard to have 3 players now, 3-star players, superstar contracts now, I'd still want them. But the CBA is nuts now, and so I don't want anything to do with the 3-star model. I'd rather just have LeBron and AD and bring back some role players. Unless you consider Austin Reeves, because he could potentially be an all-star. And I'm not trying to talk crazy, but Nick Wright already said today that it's a big 3. And I'm not going to lie, I would lean more towards that than away from it, because Austin Reeves can freaking play flat out. He could maybe average 20 this year if he's getting the touches. But yeah, so Dame is trying to leave. No, I don't know. Who knows? Yes, no, maybe. So I saw a bunch of quote tweets on this thing from NBA Central, and a couple people compared him to Rachel McAdams from The Notebook. Like, what do you want to do? I don't know what I want to do. It's not that simple. Dame, come on, man. You've been there a long time. Just either leave or stay. Just, should I stay or should I go? We don't need to hear the whole song. Just with all due respect, brother, make a decision. Make a decision, bro. Either you want to stay or you want to go. I don't know. I think he's going to stay, but we shall see. And then so right after that, as it's coming out that he's going to meet with the team, it comes out saying that, oh, well, he doesn't want to be on like a superstar, like 3 superstars. He just wants to play with like a team that has a chance, and he wants the star. He wants basically the star to come to him. Like, he doesn't want to have to leave. Like, so he doesn't want to run from the grind. He wants to grind. He wants people to run from the grind to him. Run from the grind to him. That's what Anthony Irwin said in his tweet, which was very funny, hilarious, Anthony. Yeah. So Dame, man, it's like, will they, won't they? And all due respect to him, I know he's doing what he feels he needs to do to position himself into getting a winning situation. But I don't like will they, won't they's. I like the show Friends, but I did not like that Rachel and Ross did the will they, won't they thing for so long. It's really annoying storyline in TV and movies for me. So this is kind of getting annoying. With all due respect to Dame, it's getting kind of annoying, dude. Like, either break up or don't. I don't know if he doesn't want to be like I said before, maybe he doesn't want to be the one to dump them. Maybe he wants them to look like the dumper. One of y'all make the move and break up. That's my thing on Dame. I just find it really funny. I just compared Dame to Ross and Rachel McAdams from The Notebook. That's hilarious. This is really good content. All right, so like I said, the NBA draft happened last week. So I got the top 5 picks right here. Was obviously Victor Wembanyama went to the Spurs. Brandon Miller went to the Charlotte Hornets. Scoot Henderson, like we mentioned, went to the Portland Trail Blazers. And the Thompson twins, Amen Thompson, went to the Rockets. And Oscar Thompson went to, who did he go to? The Pistons? Let me pull that up real quick. I have it here. Let me pull that up. Draft results. So let's see the top 5 real quick. So Wemby to the Spurs, Brandon Miller to the Hornets, Scoot Henderson to the Blazers, Rockets, Amen Thompson drafted Amen Thompson, Pistons draft Oscar Thompson. And quick note, I think it's cool that there's multiple ways to get to the NBA now. You can be college, you can do professionally for the overtime elite, which the Thompson twins went to, or you could do the G League Ignite, or you could do overseas. So I think it's cool that people have options. College is great, but college isn't for everybody, especially if you want to be a professional athlete. So I think it's cool. I think it's amazing for this overtime elite. I remember when it came out, I didn't know if it would work out, because professional sports leagues are hard to get going and be successful. But shout out to them. And according to the Thompson twins, I mean, they're drafted in the top 5, and making it to the NBA, and they said they had quality trainers that came from the NBA and all kinds of stuff. So good for them. The Magic drafted Anthony Black. Pacers drafted Bilal Koulibaly, which he was Wemby's teammate in France. Jazz draft Taylor Hendricks. Mavericks Cason Wallace. All right, and we'll do the rest of the first round real quick. Magic draft Jet Howard. Thunder draft Grady Dick. Pelicans draft Jordan Hawkins. Hawks draft Kobe Buffkin. Jazz draft Keontae George. Lakers draft Jalen Hood-Schifino. Heat drafted Jaime Jaquez Jr. from UCLA. Warriors draft Brandon Podziemski. Rockets draft Cam Whitman. Nets Noah Clowney. Nets Dariq Whitehead. Blazers Chris Murray. That's Keegan Murray's twin brother. Kings draft Olivier Maxence Prosper. Grizzlies draft Marcus Sasser. Pacers draft Ben Shepherd. Hornets Nick Smith Jr. And quick note on Nick Smith Jr. I was watching the draft, and he was very thankful to get drafted. He could have been a lottery pick, but he had an injury, unfortunately, and was still able to get drafted, and he was really grateful and was crying and everything. And I thought that a lot of the kids that were there in the green room were really grateful, and you love to see it because it's life-changing. It's a life-changing moment, and you like to see people be humble and grateful for what an opportunity to go make millions of dollars. Like, it's really, really good to see. Excuse me, really good to see these kids with great attitudes, and just be grateful. Grateful for life, and what an opportunity. That's really cool. Jazz draft Bryce Sensabaugh. Pacers draft Strother, and the Clippers drafted Kobe Brown. And another note, I noticed that they asked Rob Pelinka about, or no, I don't even know if they asked him, but Rob Pelinka, Lakers GM, said that he thought it was really cool that there was multiple kids in this draft that were named Kobe, and that's a really huge compliment to Kobe Bryant, because I think there's a lot of kids named Kobe now after Kobe Bryant, and that's just really cool that he's left this legacy of his name and also his Mamba mentality, his commitment to giving your all and paying attention to the details and putting in the hard work to achieving your goal. So I just think that's awesome. As a Kobe fan, I just think that's awesome. As a Lakers fan and a Kobe fan, that's my guy, man. Rest in paradise. For sure. And so I wanted to talk about real quick too about the so there's this Serbian kid that, to me, I was like, who's gonna draft him? Because Jokic is from Serbia, and so this kid, his name, let's see, this kid, I think he's drafted. Let's see, who drafted him? Let me see. So my interest was piqued. So he was drafted. This kid's name is Tristan Vukcevic, and he's drafted second round, number 42 pick from the Wizards. He's 6'11". He's a center, 223 pounds. He's from Serbia. 20 years old. And they say that let's see, his overview is that he's inconsistent. He's inconsistent as his playing time was far from predictable. His offensive ability is noticeable, however, and his game on that end of the floor should translate well to the next level. His size and athleticism make him an inside and lob threat, respectively. He's also a respectable outside weapon due to his three-point shooting. The big man made 37% of his threes last season across all competitions, where Vukcevic needs work on the defensive end, and he's lacking rim protection despite his size. His defensive instincts and overall awareness are keys of improvement. So, great three-point shooter, lob threat, inside threat. Offensive ability is noticeable, they said. But let's see, potential as a versatile scorer. But it doesn't say that he's quite the passer that like Jokic is, and I'm not saying he's gonna be Jokic just because he's from Serbia. I just thought it interesting comp. It's like, the year the Jokic wins the NBA Finals, he wins the Finals MVP, then the kid gets drafted from Serbia. So I just thought it was interesting. I'm gonna keep my eye out on the guy just in case he pops, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember. I was paying attention to that. Just so I can have that for later. So I'll put that in my back pocket. But yeah, I mean, not saying he's gonna be Jokic, but I just thought it's interesting. He's not as big of a guy as Jokic. He seemed kind of thin, but the similar comp, except they don't mention his any passing ability. I have to look tape on him. I just thought it would be interesting because Jokic was offensive player coming at when he was scouted and didn't seem to be a good defensive player, and then now he's shown to be solid defensively. He got in shape. He got in shape in the last few seasons, and he's great offensively. And Jokic is a different type of dude, man. He's the greatest player on the planet right now until we see otherwise. It's either him or Giannis. So he's in a different class. But I just thought it's interesting that the year a Serbian guy, Jokic wins the NBA Finals MVP, the NBA Finals and the MVP. Then a Serbian kid gets drafted, and similar bodies, similar height. You know, big man. And he's a good offensive player, can shoot threes at a very high clip for a big man. So just interesting. Just put it in the back pocket. Put it in your back of your minds. And that way you can say Kyle was right. That's all you got to do. Wanted to mention that, and then okay. So and then some trades happened last week that I wasn't able to hop on here to talk about yet. The Warriors traded Jordan Poole, a 2030 first-round pick, Ryan Rollins, 2027 second-round pick, to the Wizards for Chris Paul. So that's obviously so Poole makes a lot of money, and he was not good in the playoffs last year, and was not good for a latter stretch, and so they moved off that contract. That's basically what they were doing. But they get CP3, and so Chris Paul moves from the Suns to the Wizards, and then now to the Warriors, and everybody was shocked. And I was scrolling through Twitter, and Warriors fans are still kind of shocked. NBA fans is like, what? Like, this is crazy, because they were kind of rivals. But what I didn't know is that, I mean, I did know that they're both from North Carolina, but what I didn't know is that Chris Paul and Steph Curry have known each other for a long time. There was a weird clip that came out recently, it might have been today, where Chris Paul's on NBA Today, and Malik is asking him, oh, how's this? He's like, oh yeah, I think his wife went to my wedding. I think my wife went to his wedding, and it was like, you think? What? Like, you think you guys went to each other's weddings? I don't know how close they are, but I just think the basketball fit is weird because Chris Paul slows the game down. He's very traditional point guard, whereas in Golden State it's very much, moving the ball and player movement, coming off screens and stuff like that. And Chris Paul's an older guy. He's got 3-4 years on Steph Curry. So I see Chris Paul coming off the bench there. I think there's sometimes you can get away with a smaller lineup with him in there. But I don't see a lot of Chris Paul and Steph playing together at the same time. It's kind of a weird fit. But gives them a reliable player to come off the bench, and I know Chris Paul wants to win a championship, but that's the only thing he hasn't done. He's had great success, All NBA, he's been an All-Star, so it's just strange. I didn't see that happening. I thought Chris Paul was gonna get waived, and the Lakers are gonna sign him, or the Clippers are gonna sign him to a small deal. So it was very interesting there. But I mean, good for the Warriors. They moved off the Poole contract, because that contract was looking bad, especially when he's pulling up 40 feet against the Lakers and clanking it, and not being able to play in the playoffs, because if he can't, he's one of those guys, if he can't get a bucket, then he's unplayable. So he'll go to the Wizards. He'll probably fill it up, and he's gonna get a million shots because they don't have anybody now. They traded. We'll get to it. That's a good segue, actually. We'll get to it. They traded. The Wizards traded Porzingis. We're yet to see what happens with Kuzma, but Kuzma is gonna get paid. He's declined his $13 million option. He's probably looking for something in the $20 million range. So, and now the Wizards are like tearing it down. So I don't see why they would keep Kuzma. But so let's get to Porzingis. Porzingis was traded last week from the Wizards to the Celtics, and the Celtics traded Marcus Smart, their heart and soul, to the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies needed a veteran badly with the whole thing with John Morant. Hopefully he can stop playing with guns on Instagram, and they're going to need a point guard to help them through 25 games of not having Ja there playing. And then the Celtics trade Tyus Jones. And the Celtics get, where did Tyus Jones go? Tyus Jones, shoot, I'll have to see where Tyus Jones went. Tyus Jones. See, Tyus Jones. Okay, so Tyus Jones, it went to the Wizards. Okay, excuse me. So Tyus Jones then goes to the Wizards, and Gallinari and Mike Muscala goes to the Wizards as well, along with a draft pick they used this year, the first round, 2024 first round, and the number 25 pick for this year as well. So yeah, so they traded Porzingis. So the Wizards basically is just gonna have Jordan Poole, and we'll see if Tyus Jones stays. Like just now, when I looked up where Tyus Jones is at, there's rumors about other teams looking into him because Tyus Jones is a really good point guard too. He's really good backup. He's been called like one of the best backup point guards in the league. So I can see why there would be a lot of interest in him. So we'll see if that's where he stays. But for right now, you can see the Wizards are, and looks like they tried to get some draft picks because they didn't get any draft picks for Beal, which sucked because it sucked for them because they had a no trade clause with Bradley Beal. Shout out to Bradley Beal's agent, got him paid and a no trade clause, and he gets traded to where I believe his agent is the son of the CEO of the Phoenix Suns, something like that. So yeah, so there's not going to be any more no trade clauses in the NBA. Don't see it happening anymore. I think Bradley Beal was the last one because it's not going to happen anymore because the Wizards waited too long to trade him and got not enough for him for the caliber play he is. And yeah, so there's all kinds of talk. There's all kinds of rumors going on right now as we speak. There's all kinds of rumors. So I'll like I said, I'll record again in a couple of days. I'll record again in a couple of days. But there has been a lot of stuff coming out about who's playing what. Excuse me. There's been a lot of talk about where people are going to go, what this free agent and that free agent is going to do, and so at this point, there's a lot of lying, a lot of posturing, a lot of silly stuff coming out. So we'll try to stay updated with that, and I'll record in a couple of days, and we'll talk what's going on in the NBA and what we're looking at and what we're looking at from Lakers fans' perspective. And so let me see. I'm looking at the free agents for this year, And so as far as the Lakers go, they don't have right now. They don't have that much cap space. So it's really with the Lakers. It's really re-signing their players, re-signing Austin Reeves #1, re-signing Rui Hachimura, then seeing if they need to re-sign Bamba and Beasley for the cap, re-sign D'Lo for the cap or to keep. We'll see. And then seeing if Dennis Schroeder wants to come back, or if Lonnie Walker wants to come back. Seeing if Wendy Gable wants to come back, or if we could replace him with someone. But so, I'm looking down the list. Let's see. Westbrook, not going to be a Laker again. Not doing that. His market's going to be interesting, whether he goes with the Clippers or not. Middleton, not going to be a Laker, but will he stay in Milwaukee is the question with him. Harden, there's talk about Harden going to the Rockets, or going to stay in Philly. He might go to the Rockets. That would be weird. I've discussed it before. Don't quite understand it, but I guess because they have cap space and he loves the city. I've seen fan mock-ups of being a Laker, but no, please no. Just because he's not the player he used to be. And again, let's build depth around LeBron and AD, please. Kyrie's going to stay in Dallas, and I wouldn't want him anyway, even if it was possible. That's what I'm pretty sure he's going to stay in Dallas. Porzingis, we saw, is going to the Celtics, and he already signed a trade. D'Lo, will the Lakers keep him? Kevin Love's going to be interesting. Obviously not the same player he was, but he can stay in Miami. He was giving them some good minutes. Vucevic, too expensive for the Lakers. Draymond Green, going to stay in the Warriors probably. Fred VanVleet, love to see it. Don't know if it's happening. Let's see. Any other interesting names? Harrison Barnes would be interesting, but he wasn't. I don't know if he's still a good player. I mean, he can still play D, but I saw him miss a game-winning shot for the Kings. That's what I remember recently. I don't know if the Kings would re-sign him. Jeremy Grant, Portland would be silly to let him go. Let's see. What are some of these guys? Yeah, I mean, Brooke Lopez. I was listening to a podcast where Dan Wokey was talking to Anthony Irwin, and Brooke Lopez. Could the Lakers try to convince him? I mean, you got to make the call to say, hey, Luke Walton's no longer here. Maybe, do you want to come back? It'd be really interesting if Milwaukee loses key pieces like Brooke Lopez and Middleton, and that team looks drastically different, and that would not be good. But I think that Middleton would probably stay with Milwaukee, but if Brooke Lopez doesn't stay, that would be a huge loss for them, because he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and he can hit threes now. So I'd love if we could get him. If we could get him for 13 mil or cheaper, that would be amazing. I see Kuzma on here. People talking about, could Kuz come back? I think Kuz is gonna be too expensive, and I think only if we could trade for him later on for Bamba and Beasley for Kuz or something like that, depending on how much the money is. Josh Hart, I've seen that. I think he's gonna stay with the Knicks. Which, man, shout out to Josh Hart. I miss him. I know he's in the AD trade, but he turned himself into a really good player, really good role player. Let's see, anybody else that the Lakers could afford? Dylan Brooks. I don't know if we'd want him, but he's a good defender, but he's not quite the three-point shooter that we would need. Dwight Powell might be interesting if Castleton doesn't pan out, can't play for us with the big club. Maybe bring Dwight Powell in as a backup center to AD. That's what I think we would be looking for. Besides wings, we definitely could use a backup center to when AD is not playing, whether it's like I said, load management, or hopefully not injury, but whether it's load management or even just to give him a breather, we need a backup center. Yeah, I don't see anybody else realistic. Maybe Mason Plumlee for the same reason, for a big. Bruce Brown's going to get paid don't think he's an option for us. But Joe Ingles would be interesting. If he could be healthy, he's a nice 3-point shooter, and he's a really good dude, and an autism dad, which so am I, and I really respect that about him, dude. That's awesome, man. And he really talks about it. And I noticed that, and I got a lot of respect for that. That he loves his kid, and that he does the best for him. That's awesome. Let's see. Obviously, we bring back Rui. But yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else we could be able to get. Dante DiVincenzo would be nice to get. Jeff Green would be nice to get. Now we're talking about like mid-level type guys. That's kind of what we would have available. Andre Drummond, if he would come back, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind having him come back. Plus, AD struggles against him a little bit, so it'd be kind of nice to like how Kobe used to recruit people that would give him fits, like Matt Barnes and stuff. I would like to have Drummond back, because I think we just had a bad year. I think he's a good player. But yeah, those are the type of players that the Lakers would be interested in. Like, I think like Grant Williams, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I heard something like he might not be in Boston for too long, but he's a restricted free agent, so that's interesting too. Let's see if any of the guys I was mentioning were restricted free agents. No, they weren't. I don't know. Alex Lynn could be a backup big for us if he doesn't. I mean, well, Sacramento was kind of playing him, so maybe not. Let's see. Robin Lopez, he's an okay backup big. Biyombo, he's okay, but I think that the Suns would try to keep him. And yeah, I don't see. And now we're getting down into the list. I see. I wonder what happens with Thomas Bryant, former Laker. Wonder what happens with him. Wonder if he stays in Denver. He wanted to get a bigger opportunity. Let's see if there's anybody else that would be interesting. See if anybody else would be interesting. Oh, Troy Bryant Jr. I haven't even talked about him. I wonder how much he would get in the open market. If we would probably bring him back if it worked out for us financially. If it worked for the Lakers. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, we're getting deep into these names. Paul Reed, he's a restricted free agent. I like him. He plays for Philly. He's a good backup big for them. Dwayne Dedmon's a good, interesting player. Low cost, could be a backup big. And then like the Cody Zellers of the world. So yeah, it's not a superstar free agent market right now, but the Lakers don't need a superstar. They just need LeBron and AD healthy, playing at their best that they can play at, and bolster the depth around them. And I think that those are kind of related. Like, so LeBron is gonna miss some games because he's getting older. AD has had his injury history, but if they have a great depth around them, then that makes it easier on them throughout the season. That makes it easier on them to like not carry as much of a burden and work so hard during the regular season. So those two things are kind of related at certain points. They're sort of related. If you have more help, then you won't have as much of a heavy burden to carry. All right, let's switch over to summer hoops that are happening right now. Let's go with our hometown Sparks. The Sparks, the LA Sparks, the switch to the WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association. The Sparks right now are at 500. That's okay, but at least they're second in the West, so they're still in the playoff spot. So they're doing all right. I mean, that's not a great record, but I mean they're still the second best team in the West. You got the Aces at 12-1. Golly, smoking people. And see, the top 8 goes in the East is Sun, Connecticut Sun 12-3, Liberty at 2 9-3, Mystics 8-5, Dream 5-7, Western Conference Aces 12-1, Sparks 7-7, Wings 6-8, Storm 4-9. Damn, that's a bad record. Make it in the top 4. Yikes. So yeah, I mean, I saw that the Sparks won yesterday in a good win against the Wings because the Wings are right behind them. NECA is going to be an all-star. Congratulations to you, NECA. That's awesome. 27 points last night, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. Great game. Hambry had 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Samuelson, 14 points. Canada, 10 points. So, I mean, that's cool if they can, like I said, if they can be competitive and make the playoffs and make it a destination to where, like, hey, maybe Jewel Lloyd is a free agent, wants to come. That would be sweet. She's balling up in Seattle, so that would be amazing. So right now I saw this list too, CBS. They got the top WNBA players. Right now, CBS Sports has Breanna Stewart number 1, Asia Wilson number 2. Breanna Stewart, New York Liberty, Asia Wilson, Aces, Jonquel Jones, Liberty, Kelsey Plum, Aces, Elena Della Don, Mystics, Candace Parker, Aces, Courtney Vandersloot, Liberty, Nika Gumake, Sparks, Alyssa Thomas, Connecticut Sun, Chelsea Gray, Aces. So those are the top players, and then the All-Stars were released. The who is going to be a WNBA All-Star was released. Let me pull up that list. Having trouble finding this. Let me go to the WNBA.com. Let's see, who is the All-Stars. The All-Stars are Jackie Young from the Aces, Jewel Lloyd, Seattle. That's no question. She's been balling out. Arike Agumbowale from the Wings, Chelsea Gray from the Aces, Kelsey Plum, Aces, Alicia Gray, Atlanta Dream, Kalia Copper, Chicago Sky, Sabrina Ionesco, New York Liberty, Diana Taurasi, Phoenix Mercury, Kelsey Mitchell, Indiana Fever, Asia Wilson, Aces, Breanna Stewart, Liberty, Brittany Griner, Phoenix Mercury, Satu Sabali, Dallas Wings, Aaliyah Boston. She's been balling out. She's a rookie. She's been balling out. Indiana, Nika Gumake. Whoop! That's right. Representative for LA Sparks right there. Alyssa Thomas, Connecticut Sun, Ella Della Don, Washington Mystics, Nafisa Collier. Oh, she smoked us one night. I was watching that game. Minnesota Lynx, and DeWanna Bonner for Connecticut. So those are your All-Stars. Let's see, the All-Star game is coming up. Let's see if it tells me this here. So the All-Star team selection special will be Saturday, July 1st at 1 p.m. or Saturday, July 8th at 1 p.m. And the All-Star game will be in Vegas this year, July 15th. So it's coming up next month. That'll be fun to watch. That'll be fun to watch out the All-Stars. Watch NECA represent for the LA Sparks. Let me see. Alright. Yeah, so those are the All-Stars, deservedly so. All those names. You know, there's snubs every year, but all those players have been balling out. And so, yeah, WNBA, we got like a month, we got like a couple weeks left to All-Star weekend, and that'll be fun to watch. And yeah, these games have been really competitive. Even with the teams that are not that good, they've been like really competitive and really good this year. Let's move on to some Dodgers. Close it out with some Dodgers news. The Dodgers beat the Trastros. Oh, excuse me. I meant the Astros. They beat them in the series. They won the series. They won the first 2 games, and they lost the third. But at least they beat them in the series. That's what matters. And the game, I was watching the game on Saturday. It was a crazy game that they won 8-7, and they won basically on a balk call. And manager Dave Roberts was like, yeah, we don't necessarily want to win on just a technicality, but a win's a win. Excuse me. And the pitcher, I forget his name, Stanek or something. He did balk because he kind of stepped off the mound, and I had to be reminded what a balk was. In case you don't know, it's what if you're about to throw a pitch, and then it's like you're doing the motion and then you move sort of at the last minute. And he did. Everybody said technically he did. Like, there's been worse ones or whatever, but it was really funny because he got really animated. And crazy. He's like, rah, 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 dropping a bunch of F-bombs and stuff like that. He got ejected. I think Dusty Baker, the legendary manager, got ejected too. It was nuts. I just thought it was funny to laugh at the pitcher because he's whining about it. And you know, I was just laughing because my team was able to come back. Like, they almost blew that lead. Unfortunately, what's his name? Bobby Miller. He started off strong, and then he started to wane and got the bases loaded and gave up a grand slam, and it was rough. But so good thing they were able to win, and they were able to win that game with. The bullpen was decent, and that's been kind of the worry. I was listening to Lockdown Dodgers today, and one of the hosts was saying that, which subscribe to Lockdown Dodgers too. They have really good content as well as Lockdown Lakers. He was saying that he's still kind of worried about the bullpen, and I don't blame him because they've been struggling all year. So if the Dodgers can make a move to get a reliever or two or a starter, I think it would be in the best interest because we're still waiting on Urias to come back. Hopefully he comes back coming up in a few days against the Royals series. Hopefully Hudson comes back for the bullpen. And then also Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor has an injury that it's been bothering him. He's going to come back Sunday. This coming Sunday, so hopefully he'll be back to form. They tried to play him, but he wasn't healthy enough, so they put him down on the IL, and hopefully he can come back and be healthy. And then Max Muncy is coming back. He's coming back on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So they need to get healthy, but they do need some pitching help. And I think that they'll still have a lot of assets. And right now, Ohtani, I don't know if they're gonna trade him. I mean, I think it'd be stupid, but it's stupid that they didn't already trade Ohtani. But I don't know if they're gonna trade him right now because right now they're in the playoff chase, and so they want to get to the playoffs, get the playoff revenue. Even though it's dumb, they should have already traded him. They should try to get what they can before he leaves for nothing. Because no matter what, unless they win the World Series, I don't think he's going to stay in Anaheim. So I say that because I want the Dodgers to make sure that they have enough assets to trade for Ohtani. But, I mean, if we can't trade for Ohtani, then at least we would still have our assets and still have the chance, like anybody else, to offer him like $600 million in the offseason or whatever it is for Ohtani. Because I would love to have him because he's a generational talent. He's the best player in the league. He can pitch and hit home runs, and he's Babe Ruth. He's better than Babe Ruth. He's Babe Ruth 2.0. So yeah, but the Dodgers right now, they need some pitching help because this is a position that we haven't seen the Dodgers in a long time since Andrew Friedman has taken over. I mean, they've been in the playoffs like 9 seasons in a row or 10 seasons in a row, and they I forget when Friedman came on, but since Friedman's been on, we've been going to the playoffs, winning the pennant, winning the division, and they won the World Series once. So that's the only problem there. So they made the playoffs for the last decade and only made the playoffs once. So I don't mind that they're not. I don't mind that. I don't care if they win 100 wins. They're not going to. They're going to win like maybe 90, 95. But as long as they get in the playoffs and see what happens. As long as they get in the playoffs, see what happens. Because they won 100 and whatever games last year, record high or whatever, and then they got smoked by the Padres. I don't want that. I want to get to the playoffs and make it all the way to the end, and for them to win the championship and win the World Series. That's what Dodger fans want. That's what LA fans expect. So that's what I want. That's what I hope. So right now with the Dodgers, they should look to probably get some help with the bullpen, because when the starting pitchers get healthy, you got Urias, you got Kershaw, you got if Dustin May can come back, he might be a bullpen option though, depending on when he comes back. And same thing with Walker Buehler, when he comes back, he might be a bullpen option too, because they won't have comeback soon enough. Like they might be able to come back in September. So, but even still, Bobby Miller can keep up what he's doing. You still you have some good starters there. In the playoffs, you basically need 4 good starters. Noah Syndergaard, I don't think he's going to work out, unfortunately. Hopefully, he can change my mind, but right now I think he's on the IL, and he's not doing too good, pitching-wise. So, yeah, so right now the Dodgers need bullpen help. So, hopefully they can make a trade. It seems to be that their offense is there. It's just the pitching has been killing them, whether it's the starters or the bullpen. And mostly it's the bullpen, because the starters have been pretty solid. Like I said, with a mostly healthy pitchers, you got Kershaw, Urias, and Bobby Miller, and then maybe Dustin May. Maybe Dustin May could be healthy enough, or maybe this kid Emmett Sheehan could be the 4th starter. And then just need some bullpen help. So either trade for a starting pitcher or some bullpen, a couple relievers. That would be great. And hopefully they make that happen. This is my longest episode I've ever done. So I don't know how many of y'all stayed around, but hopefully enough of y'all stayed around. Anyway, please continue to check out my videos. Please like and subscribe. Post a comment if you have any specific topics you want me to cover. Anything you want to talk about. You want to ask me my favorite color, I'll tell you. Appreciate it. Please, like I said, like, subscribe, post a comment, tell your friends about it. Appreciate it. Peace, love, and God bless.